So the opportunity came up to get this place. So what were like the first steps to try and turn it into a golf club that you wanted and that would kind of like fit your kind of vision, because it's a big project.
Yeah, I think starting back when we were looking at this place and the opportunity to even come into conversation with, hey, let's get this piece of land or this golf course and turn it into something awesome. We knew, we played here growing up, and we knew that the layout and the design was good enough to have to be a good golf course in Columbia, South Carolina. And we're like, hey, what if we just made this the most pristine version of this place? And if you did that, it would turn into, in my opinion, one of the best courses in Columbia. Layout wise, it's really good and fun. It's challenging in some spots, easy in some spots. But you make good greens, good fairways. It'd be, I feel, one of the best here. And so that was like what we led off with. And then we go, like, hey, hey, Greg.
Well, yeah, at that point, when I came out here, because it had been, obviously, I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old last time I was out here. So I didn't really remember much. George was a little bit older. And when I came out and looked at it, I couldn't even believe it was a golf course. It wasn't. So when I was riding around, the first time we were riding around, we saw carts and ditches, no grass really on property, greens that were not puttable.
Fairways not playable.
Yeah, there was one guy that was the head pro, the superintendent, the cart boy, the general manager, everything. And then there was like another guy on staff. I think they had 6 members. And I couldn't believe, occasionally when we'd come out, there would be people out that had paid money to play golf at the golf course. So,
ouch, that's a bit of an indictment.
But when I was riding around, I could see the bones of a very, very good golf course. And I was like, it was on the card maybe at 6,500 yards or so. And we started marching through trees and looking at aerial shots of what the property had. And I was like, I think we could lengthen it up. We could just recontour some of the fairways. The greens are already pretty good complexes. I was like, this is a championship golf course. And to have that vision at that point, I
didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I did.
But I saw it. And so the next step, I was like, I also look at my bank account and I know what the golf course is going to cost. So I was like, well, we could get the golf course. We could probably put lipstick on the pig a little bit.
We could have got new carts.
Yeah, and we could have figured out how to I don't know.
No, we couldn't have.
But we could have turned it into something that was playable and fun and accessible.
You could have given it a good old go.
We could have. Yeah. But as far as turning it into a championship golf course, I said, I think that's going to take a whole lot more than what I got. And I don't want to go somewhere and borrow. So I'm just going to put some feelers out there and see if there's anybody that would be interested in taking this ridiculous leap of faith.
And crazy enough, and kind of on our same like wild dreaming mind that we had, and that's when we reach out to Greg.
So I reached out. My dad had been giving golf lessons to this guy, and again shared a passion for the game of golf. Obviously, extremely successful. A well-to-do family here in Columbia, and I sat down and I was like, "You're gonna think I'm crazy. I've got this idea." And I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know. I don't even know the slightest bit about construction projects or figuring out, like you said, making a cup of coffee is hard for me. Trying to figure out permits and construction stuff and all that. No clue. But I knew that this guy had built a lot of businesses and restaurants and land and all this other stuff. And so I kind of presented the idea to him, and literally 10 minutes in, he was like, "Let's do it." And I was like, I don't know how much it's going to cost. And he didn't either at the time, but he shared the same vision. We thought it was going to start out to be just a couple few $million investment just to get it up and going, and then we could figure it out. Turns out at this point, I think Greg is 15 and counting in the project.
Wow. That's huge, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And again, the market, South Carolina obviously is known for its golf. Columbia is the capital of our state, and around here we just don't have good golf. If you go over to Aiken, Augusta area, There's
golf.
a lot of great golf. You go up to Greenville, there's a lot of great golf. You go to Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Hilton Head, great golf. Middle of the state, there's just a big void. And I know that there's people that love the game around here, but there's just no unbelievable golf courses.
I mean, there's a lot of good. Like Wood Creek, when we grew up playing there, good golf. Like Spring Valley back in the day, good. Columbia Country Club, but like I said, there's not
there's
next level.
There's not that standout kind of venue that everyone says, you want to play around here. That's the place you go to. I mean, it's a huge investment, but if there is something like a gap in the market, if that's the right way of kind of saying it, and there is the need for that golf course, then people are going to come here. And obviously you guys have got a fantastic following, but a great way to tell people about it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's always the biggest problem, is it? If you start a new business, like nobody's going to know unless you can get it out there into public domain. And you know, you guys have got that that ability. And obviously, you know, Craig, having a chat to him yesterday, I've got a feeling that he probably knows what he's doing.
If he doesn't know what he's doing, he's very good at finding people who know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
That's the best way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But honestly, I couldn't believe when we came in yesterday, because in my mind, obviously, this is, and I've said it a few times now, it's like, it's the golf course that YouTube is building, and to come in and see all the work going on. That in my head, I had this like romantic notion that I'd pull up and like I'd wave. I said, "Oh, where's?" And he's on a mower. He's doing a bit of the green. And I was like, "Oh, George, how are you?" He's painted a bit of the clubhouse. I come in here and the first thing I see is a 90-foot bridge, which
75.
70, it's going to get bigger every time I tell this story. This 220-foot bridge, which is going across the lake to link up like a back 9 holes, which I've just kind of seen kind of in passing, like we were doing all the filming on the front 9. You got construction crews, you got people laying like literally country-wide amounts of turf all over the place. There's people, there's activity going on everywhere, and there's just you two on the putting green kind of waving at me. And I'm like, this is massive. This is a huge, like, it's a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I probably get a little bit more, obviously, because most of the people who do stuff on YouTube, they're all quite either individuals or small groups, and they all do their own thing, but it's all kind of like, all the courses are already there. And all the projects that we do are very much about kind of what we're doing, and it's all quite small scale generally. Like, this is massive. Is it scary or is it exciting?
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, from the beginning, we, you know, like Wes said, we had this vision, and we know in Columbia, South Carolina, my dad, from his golf academy, from our upbringing, from just being in Columbia, being as successful golfers we were, we kind of had a name in Columbia outside of YouTube golf. And so we knew that, like, in the Columbia area, you know, we might be able to, like, we could probably have people join and be a part of this because they, you know, knew us. But then you take it a step further. Everyone on, you know, our brand, our following on the internet, how big it is. We knew we could have some impact. But again, we think we do, but you never really know until, hey, here's a golf course that we're getting involved with. So it was pretty scary for me, because what if it just, you know, we think we have this influence and this reach, and then
what if it flops?
2 people sign up to be a member.
It's scary, isn't it? Because like everything that we do, certainly kind of YouTube wise, it's all at the point of people watching it. It's all free.
Yeah.
Like, you can hop onto YouTube or kind of social, watch the videos, and that's the interaction. But when it gets to the point where you say, okay, now what we actually want, if you fancy it, is to come join and be a member. And here's the credit card machine. You want to just put it in there for a little bit? Go on. You know you want to. You enjoy the videos, don't you? Come on.
How about a shirt and a hat and a ball marker?
You want a ball marker? Okay, there we go. He's racking up now, boys.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, the void that we saw in Columbia golf-wise, especially for people that were aspiring to play professionally, like I just saw a pattern. When I moved to Augusta after school, there was great practice facilities, great golf courses, access to further my golf career there. And then we started having kids, and needed to move back to Columbia, there just wasn't that good training ground for people wanting to play professionally. And so what I would see is the University of South Carolina is here. People would come from out of town to come to university, is what y'all would call it over there. They would come to school, they would put in their 4 years, and then if they wanted to chase it professionally, they would move back to where they were from, or move to Sea Island, or move wherever. I was like, people that come into the University of South Carolina, I want to give them a reason. If they want to chase it professionally, I want to have something good enough for them to want to stay and chase their career out here. Feel like they can train and prepare for the highest level of golf and not have to go somewhere to do that. Wow. So that was part of the reason. The other one is and I'm sure you have faced it plenty of times where you are trying to find access to create content.
Yeah.
And so knowing that void was out there for content creators, just because there's not a lot of golf clubs and be like, hey, we're going to show up with a film crew and we're going to try and lock down your course for a little bit, and they'd be like, nah, we're good. Go find somewhere else to do it. So we wanted to make sure that there was access for content creators like Peter, like the ones we mentioned to start out the podcast.
Mm-hmm. It is good. I mean, something like that, and this is obviously quite niche for what we're doing, but if you phone up a golf course, it's a lot better now than it used to be. But if you say, okay, if I've got space to come, want to kind of come down and we want to film, and then it's always like, I don't understand, like, what are you filming, like, why? And then you have to explain it all. Like, to be able to like phone up somewhere like here and say, we want to come out, we want to do this, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, we get it.
Yeah
Get
a few tee times, make yourself at home and have fun.
But that, I mean, it's again, for just from the golf club side of things, if it works out like that, and that does become the case, you've got your kind of spread and your audience that you can advertise it through. But then all of a sudden, like, Solina can be spread amongst all these other kind of creators' channels and just get the name even more out there. It's it would work. It will work.
As Michael Scott would say, it's a win-win-win.
A win-win-win.